Hello, everybody. This is Debbie Sasson. I am speaking to you from Israel, and I'm so honored to be participating in this Motivating Mom event. 24 hours of live women talking about all of the issues which are so important and so valuable, and sharing them with the wider community in honor of International Women's Day. Thank you so much for tuning in and for joining me today. I am a financial planner and a money coach, and I want to talk to you today about women and money and how come women feel so vulnerable around money, and how we can rename that, and how we can turn money management into a beautiful, exquisite, and divine self-care practice. So let's first start talking about, why do we feel vulnerable about money? And I think there are a couple of reasons. The first one is that we're never taught about money management when we're in school, right? We go through school and high school and we learn about so many things like math and science and history, but tools that we can really use in our day-to-day life going forward, they're just not part of our educational system. So we don't know really what to do. We're sort of thrown out into the big world and we have to figure it out by ourselves. And number two is when it comes to money, it really gets us on a gut level. We can feel emotional and we can feel really triggered around money because, money and finances, it's a core survival issue. We need money for everything we do. Just, for listening in to these videos today, we need to have some money. And, for electronics, for our clothes, for our food, for our water, for electricity, and then all the beautiful things that we love to do in life, they require money. So a lot of us feel scarcity around money. So we have like two components that make it challenging and a little bit difficult for us. Number one, we just don't know. We don't know what the numbers mean. And maybe even we were like at school and we think that we're like not good with math. And if we don't have math brains, we think, I can't really handle money. So that puts us off. And secondly is that survival issue. And then I think I'm going to add one more, and that is the role modeling that we received around money management. However we approach money and how we feel about money. So it's going to be those messages that we internalized from our family. And we have to think about what we heard and what we saw, what we observed, and some of it might even be a subconscious level, and we don't even, know where that's coming from. So let's try to reframe, those sort of feelings of vulnerability that we have around money management, and let's see how we can change that into something that feels beautiful, that feels comfortable, and that feels really, really, exquisite and divine, and turn it into a self-care practice. So, what I'd like to say is when we have money and we don't know our numbers and we don't understand them, so that gives us a feeling of disquiet in our system. And if I can compare it, this is a bit of an extreme example, but let's say, for example, you have someone in your family, it could be you, your partner, child, parent, and they're having a medical issue and they need to go and have a medical test, a blood test, MRI, whatever, and you're waiting for the results. And, it doesn't even matter sometimes whether it's yay or nay. We just want to know what the results are so that we can go forward. And I think our money is the same thing. It's like if we would just look at the numbers and we would understand what the numbers, and start to learn and understand what the numbers represent, then we can put a plan in place about how to go forward. But when we're living in this fogginess around what exactly our numbers are, what they mean, and what they represent, we're just all the time like in limbo. We have those doubts and we don't know which way to go and what we should do. So it's really important for us to start getting skills around our numbers and around our finances, because that will give us a sense of calm, it will give us peace of mind, and we'll be able to take positive steps to changing what's going on, if that's what's important to us, or if we just want to know that what we're doing is okay and we can go ahead and we can continue doing that. So, and actually, since I'm talking to a group of moms on Motivating Moms here, so we can even think about it like childbirth, right? When we're in labor, and I've been blessed to naturally deliver 8 children, right? Like all we want to know is when that baby is going to be born. Like it doesn't, almost doesn't matter. Like, is it going to be another 2 hours or another 6 hours or what it is? But that, like, you don't even know where you stand. And like those centimeters don't really mean much because you could get to the end stage and you could be pushing for a while. So if someone were to say, hey, you just have 6 hours to go, we could wrap our arms around it and we could deal with that. But if we just don't know, it makes us feel a little bit uncomfortable, unsure. We don't know where our footing is. So that's another reason why it's really important for us to look at our numbers and see where they are so we can go forward and we could know. And then the next reason why it's really, really important to wrap our arms around our numbers is that we can put a plan in place. And we can make different choices. Once we look at, our income, what's coming in, and we look at our expenses, what's going out, we can be more discerning. And yeah, that's a really good way of spending my money. I'm spending money in alignment with my values. And I can look at how I'm earning money and see, oh, maybe I want to change something up there, or maybe I need to take on some new clients, or I want to find a different job or something like that. But if we're always chasing our tails and we're not sure how to bridge the gap between our income and our expenses, so then it's really hard to make conscious choices and decisions about changing that up. And also, if we're thinking about our goals for the future, and how we want to change things up in the future. For example, if we want to go on a vacation, if we want to marry off our children, we want to educate our children, and if we want to retire, whatever it is, if we have a goal of where we're going and what we want to do, so then we can put a plan in place to achieve our goals. But if we're not, going forward in any sort of proactive way, it's all out there in the air. It's like if you're, shooting target practice, right? If you have the bullseye out there in front of you, you know exactly where those circles are and you know exactly where the middle of your circle is. But if you don't know exactly where you're going, what you're shooting at, so then it's really hard for you to aim, shoot, and fire. You could be just going at completely the wrong way. So those are a couple of reasons why it's really, really important for you to take a look around at your numbers and plan and go forward. And also, let me just add another thing about money and making it a beautiful self-care practice is there's language that's specific to managing money. And again, we don't know it, we don't learn about it. And it's important that we get ourselves accustomed to learning that language, especially as women. At the end of our lives, most of us, we tend to have a long life expectancy. And as I love to say, and it's a little bit of a shake-up statistic, is that 80% of men die married and 80% of women die single. So, whether it's earlier in our life because we're still single, or there was a divorce, or whether it's later in life, we've become single, most women are going to have to manage money on their own at some point in their life. So it's really, really worthwhile to start developing those skills, developing those money muscles as early as possible. So I would recommend that you start looking at, the newspaper, looking at the financial section of the newspaper. Start reading, start getting your mind and your vocabulary accustomed to what the languaging is and what the words are. And slowly but surely, they're going to become familiar to you. Take a newspaper or The Economist and set aside 5 minutes a day where you just read and you absorb, and you don't even have to think about it too much. But after a period of time, you're going to find that the languaging becomes more familiar to you, and you sort of, dissolve the resistance that you might be experiencing around money. And we can sort of liken it to doing exercise. Like, let's say you go and you take on a new exercise routine, or you go to a Zumba class or something like that. In the beginning, especially let's say with Zumba, you might be thinking that you have 2 left feet, and you don't know like which way you're supposed to move your arms, your legs, to the right of the room, the left of the room. But after a while, your brain gets accustomed to it, and you don't even have to think about it anymore. So I highly, that's my buzzer, that my time is up. So I highly recommend that you take some time to learn and be accustomed to the language, and you'll be able to dissolve that resistance. So thank you very, very much for joining me today in honor of International Women's Day. And if you have any comments, pop them in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to answer. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.